sex slave.
I won't get caught, right?
Carve your name with a knife on your pussy.
Hey, is chat room number in really safe?
XX girls high school videos for sale.
Please share the link.
Cut up your nipple.
Do you remember the site SareNet? From 1999 to 2016, for 16 years it had been the largest illegal sex exploitation site in Korea, with around 1 million members. This site wasn't an underground website, as it was accessible to the public. This is where photos and videos of rape, snuff, gang rape, child porn, and those that were secretly filmed were frequently shared. This is also where men, whose girlfriends or wives who refused to participate in swinging, invited a number of men recruited on the internet to have them group raped. If you search for invited men, now you will see countless posts proving and reviewing their experiences. These terms have been derived from SareNet. And again in 2019, the same terrible things are happening. What is even more frustrating is that dozens of young women, who they call slaves, are made into outright sexual slaves. An 11-year-old primary student was included among them. Even though the woman of their age could be their friend, neighbor, or alumni, she's exposed with a serious crime. None of the participants are willing to report it or make it public. Also, the creepy thing is, it was covertly spread on male community sites. It was only by the turn of the year that women became aware of what was already known to men on the male community sites. The sex offenders did not disappear with the shutdown of SareNet. They merely moved to another location, chatroom number N. It is the name of the group chat where they sexually enslaved women. This is how chatroom number N began. On Telegram, an application suitable for sharing data, a user named GotGot plans the first massive sexual exploitation cartel. This chatroom number N made by GotGot is produced in February of 2019. GotGot sends a message to a so-called deviant who had posted an erotic picture of herself online with her private information hidden. He said to her, "This is the cyber police. Distribution of obscene material has been reported. All the evidence is saved. The suspect is to cooperate with the investigation." After obtaining personal information through impersonating the police, the criminal suggests having lewd meetings with him for about a week for not pressing charges, while threatening to tell her family if she refuses to comply. Most of the victims are teens or college students in their early 20s. Afraid that those around them would find out, they agree to it. However, it wasn't a week of nightmares. GotGot made victims send photos and videos that were softcore pornographic material that soon got worse. Later, GotGot threatened them to make sex tapes or he would release the photos and videos previously sent. The victims believed that these events would finish after a week if they endured the requests. But the perpetrator held the victims' personal information and naked videos over them, then spread the contents over their Telegram chat rooms, so the victim wouldn't be able to refuse the request or report them. They would say, "If you do everything that I request, I will not spread your content. However, if you run away, I will make it public knowledge forever." They noticed things like this being said often without shame. The criminal GotGot numbered these chat rooms. He made the chat rooms with names 1 through 8, while naming other chat rooms with names like Slave's Private Information Room, that shares the runaway slave's information. There are 3 to 4 victims per room, with hundreds of their sexually exploited material uploaded. There are around 300 to 700 viewers in each chat room, and there are at least a total of 70 victims in the chat room number N. In Slave's Private Information Room, they said, in order to make a database of the slave women, they spread the victim's face, name, age, exact address, like school and home, phone number, victim's contact list. Using this information, a large number of men conspired to rape the victims or meet them and threaten them with the information. GotGot even ordered his viewers to spread runaway slaves' private information on public men community sites. He said, "This is an example for other slaves." The perpetrator GotGot collected an entry fee by using a system of people needing his links to enter the chat room. GotGot would do more and more hardcore sexualized things to slaves in order to satisfy the viewers more. He forced them to do raunchy actions on the street, cut their nipples, carve words into their pubic area, or put scissors inside their vagina. They forced them to have sex with disabled men, to urinate in front of the camera, then drink the urine, perform incest with their families. The price of the link to get into chatroom number N was about $10. Then the users would resell the link for $30 to $50. The reason why chat room number N was spread between Korean men was because of a man with the name of Watchman, who promoted the chat room number N since early 2019. Due to the Jung Joon-young episode in March 2019, sexual offenders began to come to Telegram. The user Watchman posted on his blog, he then posted a link of the Telegram chat room he made named Godam. In this Godam room, Watchman promoted Got's secret chat room, meaning chat room number N, as well as chat rooms 1 through 8, the victim's private information, and their exploitative contents. After that, he shared another way people could contact him if they ever wanted to enter chat room number N. He got paid through money cards, like Visa gift cards, before sharing the link to the chat room number N. When the chat room number N was created, some people from Ilbay and DC Gallery knew that this chat room existed in secret. In about July, a public community site became aware of this chat room. One of the slaves reported to the chat room that the content was obviously from being threatened, but the police said, "You agreed to this, and you sent the videos, so you can't report this," and she was sent away. After that day, the cyber department sent this concern to the women's and child department, and then again to the violent crime department, and again to the cyber department, endlessly going round and around. They did this to avoid the hassle. In February, Got made chat room number N that later formed its own sexual exploitative cartel. They created around 3,000 similar rooms like Wanjang, sharing link information, Tangnara, acquaintance humiliation. If chat room number N is erased through the reportings, it's already been respread quickly throughout other chat rooms, so there is no way to stop the spreading of these victims' contents. One day in July of 2019, a chat room was created called Paksa Room. Paksa Room is not at the same level as chat room number N, where things were shared easily between individual users. Though they used a similar method to make slaves and organize the chat rooms according to levels of intensity, this chat room was much more vicious and much more terrible organization. Paksa Jang, the one and only star in Telegram, user who identified himself as a drug loaner, is at the center. He has scouted users with the nicknames like Jin, Numu, Kim Sung-min, Ikia, Buddha, who are the managers, and there is also a group of followers who volunteer to be employees of Paksa Jang. These employees work often as action members offline, showing up at the victim's location or sending them threatening calls when the victim runs away or is off the grid. They also take revenge by revealing the identities of other Telegram secret room operators in the place of Paksa Jang. Actually, one of the other chat room operators was exposed by Paksa Jang and is now under police investigation for violating the child and teenager protection laws. According to an interview with the victim, the employees are the most scary thing to the slaves. Paksa Room has emerged as a leader in this field in September. Despite admission fees ranging from $300 to as much as $1,300, there are over 10,000 viewers. Paksa released not only video clips of sexual exploitation, but also a novel about sexual exploitation, which contained information on the victim's identity. At least 20 victims have been revealed in this novel. All the admission fees, so-called donations, were received in the form of Bitcoin, Monero. What set Paksa Room from Got's room was, first of all, it was much more brutal. Second, unlike chat room number N, which included free distribution, everything was sold at a higher price. Third, it was carried out in a much more organized way. Fourth, its way of enslaving women. While Got impersonated the police to extract personal information from deviants, Paksa lured young women who urgently needed money by offering a loan or advertising a high-paying part-time PR job that pays $2,500 to $5,000, or sent an SMS message saying, "Someone is impersonating you," to find out more, leading them to click the link contained within the message, which directed them to a fraudulent website. A woman who hoped to pay off her parents' private loans was lured in with this scheme. This woman, who thought she was calling about a PR part-time job, ended up being told the amount written on the ad is for a sponsorship job, and the PR job got paid much less. And the woman who needed this amount of money would just think of this as dating and accept it. Paksa invited her to a secret Telegram chat room, telling her that he'll connect her to a sponsor. Paksa had her send him a copy of the bank account, where the payment will be sent for the part-time job, and a picture of her resident registration card. Then he assures the victim by showing the self-destructing message function of the secret Telegram chat room. Paksa instructs her to send him a picture of her face with her pinky held up against her face for the interview, This picture with the little finger up was used to be an indication of a woman who had been enslaved and was a token of a slave owned by Paksa. Afterwards, Paksa demands a naked picture or a photo of a specific body part. If there's any hesitation, he sends her a picture of the bank account with thousands of dollars in it and says enticing words such as, "It's all prepaid by the sponsor, and I'll send it to you as soon as you pass the interview," or with lies such as, "Don't worry, the message will be erased in a few seconds." However, pictures sent this time were all being stored. And the women are threatened with previously sent naked pictures and personal information. The victims of Paksa Room are at least 11 years old to women in their 30s. Majority of the women's ages are in their late teens to early 20s. They even threatened a little girl and forced her mother into being a slave as well. They, of course, don't get paid at all. Paksa even imprints them to show that they are his piece of art by carving the word slave or Paksa with ink or a knife. He cuts their thighs with a knife, cuts their nipples, nipple needle play, invites men, tattoos a uterus on their body, stimulates their vagina with scissors, makes them masturbate with a knife, anal play, drink urine, making them do lewd actions with family members, waxing, streaking, breast torture, etc. So many unbelievable things happen. Rich donators could rape their slaves offline and make videos of them raping them. They would then spread this rape videos that they made on Telegram. They enticed an elementary school girl. When this girl's sister found out, who is a middle school student, maybe, that her sister was being sexually exploited, the older sister sent anything the men asked to see, then cried, pleading them to let my sister go, but they didn't let either leave. They even called them outside to rape them in the car, and then spread the videos that they took of it. We have no way to tell how many Paksa rooms there are. There are 3 main rooms Paksa announced, where they charge an entrance fee to see slave exploitation. One of the rooms is a snuff film room, where they film violent raping scenes of the victim. The next room is introduced by the statement, "We maintain the quality by regularly managing the data." Another room has the most expensive entrance fee, which is $1,300. The viewers of this room can demand what they want to see. Besides this, the weaker room has $600 entrance fee. We don't know exactly what it is, as well as several different rooms with different purposes, like trading slaves room, spreading personal information room, free trial room, bulletin board room, etc. If someone enters Paksa room, they have to prove they are who they are by taking a selfie of themselves, holding their ID next to their face, as well as Bitcoin hard-to-trace payments. Paksa made the link public, confidently knowing that police aren't able to track the transactions during investigations. When the editor released an article about Paksabang, they held a purely evil event on Telegram about hunting the editor and his family's information down. Also in the human market room, they sell slaves who are no longer useful to them, to the individual users, or to similar managers, like chatroom number N's room manager. One of the slaves of Paksa room was found in one of the last numbered chat rooms in Got's chat room number N. This shows us managers in Telegram have been sharing slaves. A victim who was found in Paksa's room and chat room number N jumped to death. Police found her phone records during the investigation, which is why they began investigating the cartel of sexual exploitation on Telegram. On August 12, 2019, among about 20,000 news outlets in South Korea, the first article about the case of chatroom number N was uploaded on an unknown online newsletter, but no one paid attention to that. October 2019, police arrested Kim Jae-soo, who operated the sex extortion chat room. Kim Jae-soo was at first a complainant when he found chatroom number N in Telegram, and he reported it to the Korean police by 911 SMS around February 2019. But he was told by the police to go report to cyber police. Since the police showed an indifference to the situation, he saw many people using chatroom number N. He felt relieved. And a month later, he eventually had changed from a bystander to the leader. Chatroom participants were ordered to upload at least an X amount of sexual clips. He forced a participant he didn't like to leave and could feel how much power he had in the chat room. When the room got bigger, he saw Paksa made a charged room. So he even sold sexual content data by requesting a couple $100s. According to Kim Jae-soo, when he spoke to the sexual exploitation chat room managers, they seemed to all be in their early 20s or high school students. On November 10th, an article was released about the manager who was inspired by Got's chat room, stating he was an Incheon high school student. This came out unexpectedly during a dispute on Ilbe. This was reported on a news site first. November 11th. Police began investigating this person, and on November 12th, an article was released saying the suspect, who they arrested less than a day later, was not the first student to be identified, but another student at the same school. The article of his arrest was released. The high school students managed several chat rooms by several different IDs. Only in official link *** room, he shared about 20,000 explicitive links. One of the rooms for sexual exploitation of children and adolescents has more than 1,000 clips. One of the most popular chat rooms has more than 9,000 members. November 22nd, a 31-year-old man who lives in Osan was sentenced to jail. This man from January to August used Telegram. He sold 2,590 out of his 91,890 sexual exploitation featuring children and adolescents, clips earning more than $2,000. But the judge only sentenced him to a year in prison. November 27th, Han Kyo-rae released an interview on page 9 with Kim Jae-soo. After that, the reporter who wrote this article was told, "I will make you wary of your surroundings when you are walking on the road." Then his information about him and his family was spread as well. Now there is a special news coverage team instead of the name of the individual editor in the byline. December 13th. In 2 months, in the chat room filled with 8,000 viewers, a man shared over 50 women's sexual exploitative contents. The same man who is in his 20s made a database that tracked victims' change of address and destroyed victims' social life by releasing private pictures. He was charged with illegal filming under sexual violence punishment laws and the use of obscene communications in media, attempted force, defamation of character, etc. In early December, it was brought to justice by a judge. After November 12th, after the Incheon High School student situation, other famous press agencies started to release articles. But there was neither public news coverage nor headline articles. This is about the time that the unprecedented and heinous crime case began to be known to the woman, centered on women community sites. From the start in February 2019 to around July, large public men communities knew about chatroom number N, but kept it a secret from the women until mid-November. No one in any large public men community shared what was happening with women. Instead, they begged for the site links. Now in the men communities, there's rumors about Paksa being a disabled man without legs or being arrested. But these accusations came from 000's message post. There are no other evidence without this user's message, but it's hard to believe because firstly, 000 was a user who promoted Paksa and led them to purchase it. Secondly, the photo that he revealed to be Paksa's ID card was false. Thirdly, there's a new Paksa room right after the apparent Paksa is arrested message. Fourthly, Paksa room is still in operation. Paksa's identity, condition, jail status could all just be rumors. We have to be suspicious that this is a strategy to promote the existence of Paksa room and to promote Paksa's name to the public. Who is the real devil these people are not? If a woman killing a man is extremely cruel, how can you describe these men then? I don't know what to say to the victims. These sexual crimes that murder women's social lives end up with only 1 year in prison or a delayed sentence. If this is allowed to happen in Korea, then how can I say sorry or give them hope? This is not your fault. I will be so proud of you if you can hang in there till the end. I just want to say things like this. I hope the investigation can go quickly, and that not only the managers of chatroom number N, but also the viewers will receive proper punishment. I will demand that the country has no more light punishment or empathy for these criminals. That the criminals who live without shame, because the server, Telegram, is a foreign server, must now live with shame. I demand for international cooperation in investigating this matter. I require an agency made to handle this. We need everyone's help to change this. Please click the links in the description to sign it. If this petition ends, please share the new petition link that will start around to other people as well. Viewers have to be punished. Please share this link as much as possible.